Howdy guys, it's Luke
and Josh
at Geekgaming Scenics, and in this video we're going to have a chat about SlapChop. Is it just a fad, or is there something we can actually take from it to add to his painting to make it a little bit more interesting when you're speed painting? I'll catch you after this. The sponsor of this video is Witchsong Miniatures. Now, Witchsong Miniatures are a pretty new company and they're offering some amazing miniatures for you to 3D print at home. Now, what draws me to these models and this company is the fact that it's a very low entry cost. You can be subscribed for as little as $1 a month and get one model a month, or $3 a month where you get some awesome exclusive offers. If you want to subscribe for a little bit more money, up to £10 a month or $10 a month, you can get like exclusive seasonal bigger, better models as well. And if you're a miniature painter, these models are for you, whether you play D&D or even if you just want some new fancy warbands to play with. Now, when you subscribe to the $10 a month, you even get 50% off all the back catalogue on their My Mini Factory. All the models are pre-supported, ready for you to print at home, and these are some of the best supports I've actually come across. They fall off the models with absolute ease, and I'm finding it very hard to find anything negative about this company to talk about. And this is not just because of sponsoring this video. The models are amazing, the supports are great, and I can't say anything bad about it. If you want to check out Witchsong Miniatures, check all the links below where you can find all the cooly goodness there. Now on to Josh to show you how he's going to approach the SlapChop and how I'm going to do it as well. And let's see what we can achieve from this.
So yes, I was also really impressed with these miniatures. They come off the supports absolutely fantastic with like hardly any scarring at all. I also really appreciate that they're just in a couple of pieces with the model and the base rather than arms and heads and legs and everything else separate, because I hate building miniatures, which is why I love 3D printing. Now me and Luke are both going to try some slight variations on the tried and tested SlapChop method that has been sort of doing the rounds on the internet recently. I'm going with pretty much as is. I'm giving it a dry brush with a light grey over a black primer, and then later on I'll be adding transparents and stuff to this to take use of this pre-shading and pre-highlighting. For this, I'm just using a soft dry brush from Artist Opus, and I'm using the light neutral grey from Pro Acryl, and just getting a nice covering over this. I really actually like this technique of pre-shading. It's not how I'd usually paint, but for something like this, for speed painting and getting stuff on the table quick, I think it's an absolutely fantastic technique, and it's a nice, easy way to do it. Once I'd got all the grey on and all the transitions were there, the slight variations in tone from black to grey up to white, I was pretty happy with how these were looking. I was excited to get some colour on them. But before I do that, I'll pass you back over to Luke, and he's going to try something a little bit different to me.
So I thought I'd go at this a little bit differently, using the airbrush to get the priming coat down, just a white zenithal to do most of the zenithal work for us. Then after doing that, I thought I'd get some colour on this model to sort of undershade it using a purple. The reason for this is I want some colour in the recesses, not just black, and hopefully where the black is, that'll shade it even more. After doing that, I get down the big group of the base colours down, focusing on trying to keep the colours all pretty neutral. So the furs are all grey, the leathers are all brown, all the sort of ropes and leathers are done with browns and very dark greys. The reason behind this is because I'm going to be painting the face of it, because it's got my head on it, which you'll see in a second, is going to be the main focal point of the model, and with the armour dominating this model as well, I wanted that to be quite nice with a nice blue to contrast with the ginger hair on my head. So to bring out all the textures and everything in the armour plus all the detail work that we've done, I then apply the first dry brush, which is very different to what I've seen of the SlapChop method, but it's the same principle. It'll seem as though I've took a much more long-winded approach to this than what Josh did. Let me pass you back to Josh so he can take you through how he goes on about the next step.
Now that we're finally on to adding in the paint, and this technique has been a really interesting process for me. It's not how I generally paint. I tend to layer up, start from a darker colour and add highlights and layers and the more traditional way of painting. But I have to admit that seeing results as quickly as I did by using this method on 5 fairly large, fairly well detailed models was absolutely amazing. And the sort of feeling that you got from doing that, from getting loads done essentially in a very short amount of time. I painted these pretty much in a day. If I wasn't filming, it would have been a little bit quicker. And getting this done this quick and to a nice looking amount of detail as well. I didn't have to do anything else on top of this. Now, I could have gone in and added some extra highlights. I could have added some extra shading and recessing and other details like that. But for quick tabletop standard miniatures that look really, really nice and don't really take too much time to do, I'm actually really, really impressed with this method. I know it's been getting quite a lot of flack online from various people that disagree with what it should be called and why it's popular at the moment and all that sort of stuff, but for me it's a method that is showing people how to paint miniatures, how to get them done to a good standard and nice and quick. Will I use it in the future? Probably not too much, because it's not generally how I like to paint, but as an experiment to try something out and something a bit different and to showcase ways that you can do it, I think it's fantastic. I'm really interested in seeing how Luke finishes off his model, because he's gone about it a little bit of a different way than I've done, and I think that that is interesting as well, is that you can put your own spin on things and do different things with it. It's not a do this, then do this, then do this, and that's the set narrative for the painting. You can mix it up, add your own things in, try different methods within that. I think it's a really cool method, and I'm pretty happy with how these look. Now we'll pass back over to Luke for him to finish his model.
So this is where the interesting stuff starts to happen. I'm using that Wraith, the colour that Games Workshop used to do. I know it's a contrast now, but I put this on over all the dry brushed areas and over the purple to see if that would influence the colour on top. And what this gave us is a very nice transition in the armour. It's very subtle. It could probably have been done with watered down a little, but I was really happy with the result. And for me as a speed painter, it's not something that I'd usually consider doing. So leaving it at that point, I thought, let's just try and get this model look like it's finished. So I started adding all the metallics, picking out some areas that I wanted to be different so it didn't all become the same colour. And what was funny about this model is because I've kept quite a muted colour palette to influence that sort of undead feel, the face was sat in the background, and this is what we wanted. We wanted to bring that to the foreground. So all the metallics and all the armour and everything, but in quite dark, we're going to bring and paint that face up very, very bright. That Zenithal Prime that we did at the beginning is going to really influence the contrast paints on this. So I'm going on with a yellow contrast for the ginger hair, because I'm a ginger nut. But I'm not just going to use the yellow. I'm going to add an old orange wash from Games Workshop over the top of that yellow once it's dry, and that'll really saturate the orange and make it pop. For the wash on the face, I'm using the new Duncan Rhodes camo shade, I think it's called, and we're just putting that on very, very thinly and getting rid of the excess. And that's all I did. I didn't do any extra work at all to the face. I just left it as it was. I went in and I picked out the eyes, hence why I've got the big gogs on. And for me, as a speed paint job, this is a very nice model. Yes, we could go in, we could do a lot more, but for just picking out a couple of details and using this SlapChop, wherever you want to call it, technique as a base to improve your base coats, I really like it, and I am going to influence it in my painting in future, because for me my eyes are not as good as they used to be. So just adding these extra few steps to the base prep makes a difference, and I'm really happy with it. And the results that Josh got and I got Mine was a bit more long-winded, but I'm really happy with it. The purple in the recesses and stuff, it just pops out. It just adds a lot more definition to this model that didn't take overly long to paint. And if you want this model, because it's cool, I mean it's me, if you want me in your army, that's cool as well. Check all the links below, guys. witchsong have got some of the most beautiful models I've seen, and if you're in a bit of a slump and want to paint something a bit different, for $3 a month you can have some amazing models, which I find quite hard to believe. So guys, I hope you've liked this video. This model from witchsong that they've made for me is absolutely amazing, and if you want to get yourself this model, all the links are below. It doesn't just come with my head, it comes with a nice horned head on there as well, so if you don't want to paint me as a big horrible ogre, you can do that as well. But thank you witchsong for sponsoring this video. It's been an absolute blast, and you have got some amazing models at a stupidly affordable price, which I like that. I'm cheap. But anyway guys, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and if you want to support the channel, don't forget to check out Patreon, where you can get your name called, and any extra videos that we do we'll throw out there for you. And if you want to buy any Scenics, you can do that as well. It really helps us out. So thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you again for the next video. Love, love, love.